Daddy's here. We gotta chill.
I believe it's Big Daddy's here.
Yeah. There it is.
Sup, nerds? It's basketball. Welcome to Horse, a basketball podcast about everything except for the wins and losses. My name is Mike Schubert, and I'm joined by my trusted co-host, the Mr. Beast trying to ruin NBA All-Star Weekend to Kevin Hart trying to ruin NBA All-Star Weekend. It's Adam Mamawala. Adam, how's it going?
It was a real who's who of who are these people and why are they here?
Just a big, who could be the most insufferable person competition going on. Who do I least want to see in my screen right now?
I just don't understand why we're taking people out of the context that they work in and plugging them into something that has nothing to do with them. Like Kevin Hart did a great job hosting the Tom Brady roast. And that makes sense because he's a comedian and that's the context in which he belongs. Mr. Beast does stupid content.
And apparently the only joke that Kevin Hart, joke in quotation marks, that he knows how to make is to just make fun of people and not receive any return joke at all. That seems to be his brand. It's like, I'm going to make fun of you, and then if you make fun of me, I'm going to tell you to shut the fuck up. But anyway, about Mr. Beast, you were saying.
There are ads all over the subways for some Mr. Beast FanDuel contest, and he is smiling in such an unnatural way that it makes me feel like he's a lizard person.
I feel bad because I do know of some people who just like struggle to smile in photos and make it look genuine that are very nice people. And I won't call them out by name because this would be embarrassing, but there's a couple of people in my life who like, they're perfectly lovely humans and for whatever reason can't force like a fake smile to look good. But there's something about Mr. Beast's that is the next level. It's the lack of emotion in the eyes. Like if you covered his mouth, it wouldn't look like he's smiling. That's the key if you are trying to look happy in a photo, is that like it can't just be the teeth. You got to like try to get like an eye crease of or some sort of muscles in the top half going to make it look like you're smiling. Yes, Tyra Banks taught us all of this in 2002. But yeah, you got to get the smize. And if you covered Mr. Beast's mouth, it would just look like someone staring.
My favorite part is that, and we'll talk about this in further detail, but a kid did win $100,000. And there's a video that looks like Kyrie Irving stole about $7 of it. Have you seen the video?
I didn't see that. I just saw the
video
Dame
of him
stuff.
like grabbing a couple dollars and like laughing and walking away with it and like putting it in his
look, because
pocket.
that's just prop money. That's not actually the 100,000.
Sure,
so like, take your $7 and, you know, buy a concession. I don't know.
Oh,
get
they
a
didn't send
Gatorade.
him home with 8 bags full of money?
Of like the dirtiest, crumplest, rough-looking singles. Yeah. Like, anyway, we're a basketball podcast. We're going to talk about basketball. We're going to talk about All-Star Weekend and some other fun stuff. Let's get ready to do so in a place that doesn't have gross dollar bills rolling around the floor. It's the Teal Memorial locker room. You
gotta love the Teal Memorial locker room. You know, I was gonna make some sort of joke about the amount of time the players spent in there as opposed to actually being on the court, which is what we wanted to watch. But, you know.
Oh, man. Yeah. Interesting choice to not have a lot of basketball during the basketball weekend, but we'll talk about that. Now, maybe some poor decisions were made in terms of that, but you know who made good decisions in the past?
Certainly our patrons and our producer-level patrons, and we actually have a new old producer-level patron, as it were.
Yes. Return of Josh Rich. Josh Rich is back. Previously, Josh Rich's patron name is Josh Isn't Rich, because making a joke of, you know, not being rich but still supporting. Maybe Josh became rich and now he's supporting again. So TBD on what we want to call him. But for now, we can thank our full list of producer level patrons, which includes Polly Burge, Salvatore Testa, Shimon Ellsbury, Dunko Chasing Taco Falls, Bang, Bang, Roast Beef Debris, Denver Steam Nuggets, Anna Reed, All-Star Game MVP, Steph Curry for 3. Hi, Trish. Hi, Allie. Chase Underulo. Naked Rachel. Sidney Crosby is a vampire. Chelsea's cousin. Ginger Spurs boy. Balls to the walls. Mats Forley. And now, Josh Isn't Rich.
Love it.
You know what else I love?
Having a sponsor so we can keep doing this show.
Let's say, hypothetically, that you are watching the NBA All-Star Weekend, but there is 7,000 commercial breaks. So you want to scroll around the internet during the breaks. If you wanted to make that productive, you could use Tab for a Cause. If you go to tabforacause.org/horse, TABFORACAUSE.org/horse, you can install it into your browser in a couple of clicks, and it's super easy. It changes your new tab window to be a picture of a very pretty either background or architecture or nature or something like that. And there might be some ads in the corner, but those ads raise money for charity, and you choose what charities get supported. They have a lot of good organizations. I've used this for years, and it's just a really simple thing. We'll do our tab check as we always do. Adam, I've got one tab open, and it's our G chat.
I've got 24.
All right.
And one of them is
cool.
our G chat.
And then you got 23, paying homage to Michael Jordan, as you should. So you can sign up for tab4acause.org/horse, raise money for charity when you're checking out the internet during commercial breaks. Now, speaking of commercial breaks, unless you're listening on Patreon, where you get episodes without these inserted ads, you'll hear some dynamically inserted ads. Some will be read by us, others of them won't be. And once we get through those, we'll get back to this episode of Horse. Adam, what do you have going on in your world?
Thank you for asking. So first of all, a big thank you to everybody who came out to these shows in Texas.
Baby.
Yeah, I got to meet some of our horse patrons, some of them for the second time. So shout out to Artie Party who came out in Austin. And I think we had a few folks in Dallas as well, where I did make a Luca joke that I'm going to post
how'd it
pretty
go?
soon.
Was it okay?
Mixed reviews. It was, I think there's still a lot of hurt. There's still a lot of pain. And there was a little bit of a hubbub when I accused them of it being the worst a white guy has been treated in Dallas since 1963. So maybe that was too far. It might have been a little too far, but I think maybe not far enough. So if you are listening to this the day it comes out, I'm very sorry, but you have missed my shows in Colorado. I hope you were there. Upcoming though, I will be in Bennington, Vermont on Saturday, March 1st. I will be headlining the Stress Factory Comedy Club in New Brunswick, New Jersey on Thursday, March 13th. Then I'll be at Next in Line Comedy Club in Philly. That is on Saturday, April 12th. It's looking like I'm going to be doing a show in the Boston area, probably in Cambridge. That will be Wednesday, May 7th. And then I'll be in Wethersfield, Connecticut, May 16th and 17th, Bozeman, Montana, May 30th, and then Vegas the whole week after that, June 2nd through the 8th. And that's mostly what I got for now. What about you?
I still have the same things as I had before. So we've got, I guess it will have passed. So Richmond, Virginia will have just passed, but we've got Houston on March 9th. I've got a whole bunch of Midwest shows in April. The one update there is that I'm trying to get one of the shows, I think the Des Moines show, which I think is April 13th. I'm trying to get that one streamed. So whether you live in the area or not, you can watch the live stream version and we'll have a replay and all that. So just stay tuned following me on social media. I'll post about whenever that becomes official. And then I have some other shows that are in the works for getting scheduled and locked down and everything, but new tickets aren't available. But you can just go to my website, schub.es/tour to check out all the upcoming shows for the Noose Olympian and for Potterless. All right. So now, should we get into NB Q&A?
Yes, and we have a Q from past and now current producer-level patron Josh Rich. The question says... Hey, Adam and Mike, I've got an NB Q&A submission for a future episode. I'm a lifelong jazz fan, but after I stopped playing junior jazz, children's rec league basketball here, I didn't really follow the team closely. That changed in 2021, however, when they landed the number 1 seed going into the playoffs, and my excitement for watching sports suddenly reignited. I completely forgot about that. The Jazz were the number 1 seed in 2021. This is me, Adam, talking now. Did that happen?
Really?
I feel like I kind of want to fact check that, but let's assume that that's true. I have no memory of that.
What the heck?
That's amazing. I genuinely have no memory of that whatsoever. Who did they lose to?
Let's see. Who the heck was on the Jazz?
Yeah, sorry, Josh. We're pausing. Was that the year that like Lowry Markkanen came out of nowhere and had that huge year, and then everything just kind of...
No. This was this was kind of like the last year of the Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, Mike Conley. Yeah, that kind of
the season before the infamous Brian Windhorst meme of like, but why would they do that? Why would they?
They won in the first round against the Grizzlies, and then they lost against the Clippers in the second round.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
like
that was that year where it was kind of like, yeah, that was the somewhat embarrassing loss to the Clippers.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Didn't they even like lose to the Clippers? Like, didn't like even Kawhi got hurt or one of the two was hurt and they still lost. The Jazz still lost to the Clippers. Yeah. Sorry to dunk on you, Josh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway,
Wild
so
times.
that's where Josh is getting. So Josh says, That excitement soon turned to complete confusion when just the next year, one by one, the Jazz traded away basically their entire roster. Just my luck to get invested in my team again right before the start of an ultra rebuild I didn't see coming. Since then, I've been more confused by the team's player transactions, as it seems like over and over again we trade away solid players for draft assets, and if we happen to receive a good player in return, we immediately waive him. The roller coaster I went on when I got the notification that the Jazz had traded for Russell Westbrook, just to get the follow-up notification that he was already signing with a different team before ever putting on a Utah jersey. Twice. It's a running joke here that they should replace the Karl Malone statue with one of Russell Westbrook. Haha. Long story short, after the Lakers-Mavs trade of the century that somehow also involved the Utah Jazz, I'm even more confused. Could you guys clear up what's going on? How exactly do these trades and waive deals work? And how do they benefit the teams involved? Thanks in advance. Thank you for the question. It's a good question. There is a lot going on. It's weird that sometimes teams don't even know like what trade they're a part of until it's about to happen. But would you like to begin?
Yes, I'll first answer what the Jazz are doing. I think what the Jazz are doing is they are kind of treading water until they get an amazing person in the draft. I think they're just kind of slowly but surely not being very good, acquiring young people who are good.
And playing the Cooper flag lottery game.
Right. Like, it's not like a full-fledged tank. And I think it's like the smarter way to tank, because basically you'll see sometimes these teams that go like all out in tanking, like when the Sixers are doing the process. They will be really, really bad. They'll get someone good, and then they're just so atrocious that they just like can't put a team around this person for a couple of years. This kind of happened with the Suns and Devin Booker. Like, they were just so bad for everyone that wasn't Devin Booker for so long that you kind of missed out on his first few years of being a baller.
Few years of him, yeah.
Right. So this is somewhat similar to what the Spurs did. They kind of were bad but young, and they traded away DeJounte Murray, even though he was young and good. Like, it's basically like waiting to cash in until you have pocket aces in poker. Like, you're waiting until you have a really good situation. So I think what they're doing is just trying to like keep being a part of trades, get picks, get young guys, do all this stuff, and then, the draft lottery happens, especially now with these new odds where you don't have to be the worst to get the best pick. Okay, boom, we've got Cooper Flag, or there's a couple of people in next year's draft that are supposed to be really good. And I think once they get one of those guys, you know, like your Wemby type, your Anthony Davis type, your LeBron type, these people who are like the bells of the ball when it comes to the draft, then they'll be like, boom, we've got the guy, we've got all these assets, and now let's roll. Or it could be kind of similar to what the Thunder did, right? You keep making these trades for young, good guys, and then if someone just becomes SGA out of nowhere, then you're like, great, we have all these other young guys. Now if we want to make moves, we can. So it's like, it's smart tanking. And of course, with Danny Ainge being the GM or whatever his official title is called, he's someone that always tries to win trades and get lots of assets and acquire young people and picks and all this kind of stuff so that he can cash in later. As far as the second part of the question we're asking about like wave trades and stuff, it's basically because when a team does that, when they like get a player and then immediately waive them, it's because they don't really have interest in that player being on the team. Usually this will be a veteran player who is on an undesirable contract of some sort. Maybe it's high dollar value, maybe it's lots of years or something. And you'll either just waive him and continue to like have him count on your books for the season, or negotiate some sort of buyout. And then that player can sign with another team. This is basically because the reason this team did the trade is to get the other stuff. They did it to get the picks. They did it to get the young people. They don't actually want Russell Westbrook taking up a roster spot. They want to have young guys playing to see who is good, who can show us what we got. We're not trying to win right now, so let's just waive this guy. He can play for another team, and then that gives us more flexibility with our roster to play younger people.
Yeah, a lot of times when you see someone getting waived, it's about one of those two things. It's either about this is like a veteran person who would be much more valuable on another team. And like, yes, would Russell Westbrook be one of the best 10 players on a crappy Jazz team? Of course. It's not, they're not saying that he's not. It's just like, we don't need him now because that's not what we're trying to do. Or B, we don't want to take on that money.
Yeah.
That's more often than not, that's what that boils down to.
Well, the money thing, I think with waiving, I think you still have to like pay the guy's contract unless it was a buyout. Like, I think it just like counts. I'm not fully certain, honestly.
Okay.
But I think you have to do it but you're allowed to waive a guy right after a trade so it doesn't like take up a roster spot.
My understanding of the way waiving someone works, and this is how it works in baseball, so we got an early baseball reference in, is that if you waive someone, they have to, like if they sign with another team, I'm fairly certain that team takes on their contract, and that's part of like what the waiver process entails. But then, I don't know. I don't want to say something wrong.
I think baseball waivers and basketball waivers are different. We're talking about waiver versus waiving, which I think are different. But regardless,
fair enough. Okay.
The main thing is just that the Jazz, who are hoping to be in better lottery position, if they had someone who is going to be the top 5 player like Russ, at best that will make them like a very bad playoff team, and that's not where you want to be in the NBA. You either want to be legitimately contending.
It's where the Bulls are, and they have been for 5 years.
Right. You either want to be legitimately contending or like towards the bottom so that you can get a better draft pick. But now with the new lottery system, you want to be like bad but able to be okay, like we're saying, when you get someone good. And I think that's kind of where the Jazz are. So you have to be patient, but hopefully they'll get someone good and then they'll ramp up into contention. With that complete, we can get into full court press, get it like the news. And I think we're just going to talk about NBA All-Star Weekend this time around.
There's a lot to
because
unpack
it just
here.
happened. We're recording this on February 18th. Happy birthday to Barb, my mom. But let's talk about NBA All-Star Weekend.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yesterday was the big day for basketball's most important Michael, me, and some other guy named Michael Jordan, I guess, too. But NBA All-Star Weekend happened this past weekend. I would say it was like mostly fun, but the All-Star game itself was like especially
Here is
not
what
fun.
I have learned, and this is the easiest way to combat the barrage of nonsense and space filler that they insist upon throwing at us. If you do not watch any of it live and you have DVR, it is a perfectly enjoyable experience. So for me, I had shows on Friday and Saturday. So I got back to my hotel at like midnight and I watched like I'm going to skip all the ads and extraneous bullshit versions of both Friday and Saturday night. And I thought they were great because I didn't have to sit through a bunch of Falderal. And then similarly on Sunday night,
Falderal.
Yes, Falderal, indeed.
Ooh.
And then similarly on Sunday night, my priority was watching the SNL 50th anniversary special. And I DVR'd the All-Star game, didn't look up the score. And then I got to watch all of it, and it only took 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Instead of the 4 hours that they broadcast it.
I, on the flip side, had the interesting thing where I rarely watch these things live, but just by recently having a baby, my evening activities are usually chiller and, kicking it at home. But I was able to do chores and podcast work and things around the house and talk with Kelly about things and all this other stuff and not miss a second of action.
Right.
So it was this weird thing where I was able to like have a full normal stay-at-home dad evening where I was doing all sorts of chores and work and stuff, and then also still consume 100% of the basketball that I wanted to. So it worked out well for me, but if you were just sitting down with friends to watch this, it would have been miserable. Because it took so long for not that much stuff.
Right. And as much as I understand people being bummed out that LeBron didn't play, I don't know what his exact thought process was or what the specific reason was that he gave other than I'm old and I need rest. But if I'm LeBron and I'm 40 years old, I don't really feel like getting hot and then sitting for an hour and then having to play again. That is a increased risk of injury.
I think this is exactly what happened because if anyone missed it, LeBron only announced that he wasn't going to play due to ankle and foot discomfort, which means bullshit. Nothing.
Yeah. He will play in the first game the Lakers play post-break, 100%.
Of course. He only announced this 5 hours before the game. And when that happened, everyone was vilifying LeBron. Everybody was like, this is awful. If he knew he wasn't going to play, he should have bowed out earlier because then they would have done an injury replacement. You could get someone like Domantas Sabonis who deserved to be an all-star anyway. You could have got him in the game. Sometimes these people have contract incentives for being an all-star, so potentially he's making more money because of this. So people were dogging on him for doing that. Anthony Edwards similarly, but he was a last minute scratch. He was still wearing the uniform and everything, so his felt more legit. But a lot of people were kind of hating on LeBron, being like, oh, it's so selfish, he shouldn't have done this, blah, blah, blah. And then after the All-Star game happened, where there was just so much not basketball being played, a lot of people, or at least myself and people that I was talking to, a lot of people are like, oh, I wonder if LeBron got information about what the evening was. And then he was like, I'm not doing this. And a lot more people cut him slack. Because like, yeah, I wonder if he got the rundown of events and understood like, oh, I'm not doing this. And let's break it down.
Because someone did provide that for us. There was like a full-on run of show basically of like, okay, how much actual basketball was on TV versus everything in between? And what did it break down to? It was like 42 minutes of basketball within 3 or 4 hours of TV.
Yeah. This is from Forget Chain on Reddit. They made a post called 42 minutes of actual basketball was played in the 3-hour All-Star Game minutes breakdown. So the introduction, which included commercials, 30 minutes. Then there was a pregame talk, which took 10 minutes. Then there was Game 1, Team Kenny versus Team Chuck, which took 12 minutes. Then there was the Mr. Beast Challenge, which was Damian Lillard versus a random fan trying to make half-court shots. Or logo threes. Then there was Game 2, Team Shaq versus the Team Rising Stars. That was 16 minutes. Then there was a music concert, which was good. We all have to remember that E40 killed it. He killed it. And he's a Bay Area legend. And they had two short Bay Area legends.
And a lot of people know this. He's named after the number of minutes of basketball that were played on Sunday night.
Yeah, estimated 40.
Yeah.
So the music performance, which is great. Then this was a 9-minute long tribute to Inside the NBA. Key note that this happened, I think they have this wrong in this breakdown because I'm pretty sure that happened after Game 3 started.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Let me just jump in here real quick. So Game 3 started. What they did was it was like either if someone called a timeout, that counted as the first timeout, or they would automatically stop at like various points throughout the game.
At 11 points.
Yeah, exactly. So the game stopped. I'm watching via DVR. There is such a long break after the first quarter that I thought something had gone wrong with my DVR. And then what I thought was like, was there an incident? Like, did someone like, glue themselves to the court and they had to like pause the game? And only later did I figure out, oh no, this was planned. And they had people get hot and play like they wanted to be intense basketball, only to pause and have Kevin Hart bring out fishing equipment for Shaq.
Yeah, some sort of like thing where they're retiring. But the thing that's so silly about the retiring is that like ESPN has picked up Inside the NBA, so all these guys will be working next year.
It's just that it's not going to be on TNT.
It's just not on TNT, yeah. So there was that tribute that technically started after Game 3, which was a 14-minute game, Team Chuck versus Team Shaq for the final. Then there was a post-game situation of 6 minutes, and then this just says endless desk / game intro / segments, total 22 minutes. So that was like during in between the games, sometimes they would cut to like Jalen Rose and Draymond Green making fun of the format and all this kind of stuff. And Adam Lefkoe being there for some reason. So that was 22 minutes. And then total time of commercials, 80 minutes. So all this went down, and basically the All-Star game, which like the basketball was not bad. Like it was fine.
No,
there was just not that much basketball. And this brings me to something I'm very excited about. This brings me to my hot take, my tinfoil hat theory about what happened. Okay. Because what a lot of people are thinking, which I think has validity, is that last year the players didn't care about the game. So to course correct, the programming did all this other stuff to try and make it exciting in case the players didn't give a shit. And now look at all these other things. There's concerts and people trying to win $100,000 for making logo threes and all this other stuff. Here's my tinfoil hat theory. Whether it's someone within the NBA or a mole at TNT or something, there's someone invested in the NBA that worked with TNT to make the All-Star game this year terrible intentionally. Because what is everyone talking about? Everyone's talking about how the basketball was actually good and we wanted more basketball. The players are upset. Jason Tatum was upset about it. Steph Curry was upset about it. Draymond Green was upset about it. All these people are upset. The fans are upset that there wasn't enough basketball. Then also, in addition to the angle of like, gosh, there's no basketball, we got to get more basketball next year. This is the last year of the TNT presentation of the All-Star game. Next year, it's ESPN. So, we're going to do this big TNT tribute where TNT looks like they're patting themselves on the back to do this huge, grandiose celebration of the Inside the NBA crew in the middle of the final game. How could TNT do this? They're being so self-congratulatory. They're so self-important. You know who's broadcasting next year? ESPN. And they're not going going to do it wrong. They're going to give you what you want, the basketball. So I think all of this is to tank the All-Star game to make it look awful so that next year, when the new TV deal kicks in, because everyone's worried about the ratings, they're going to go, oh my God, ESPN did such a better job. The NBA did such a better job. Now the players care. They're doing all this stuff where they threw this All-Star game under the bus so that the next year's All-Star game makes everybody happy.
But, okay, so I don't necessarily disagree with you, but why would TNT self-sabotage in that way, unless you're saying that the NBA just gets to dictate every minute of the weekend?
It's an NBA mole. There's someone invested in the NBA being better next year that is either telling this to TNT or someone at ESPN paid someone at TNT, a higher up, a bunch of money to do it. But they convinced TNT that all of this was a good idea. They convinced TNT, pat yourself on the back, give the shout out to the inside crew. You got to do all this other stuff because the basketball wasn't fun. You're going to need to do all of this stuff. Make the games not actually that long. But they've turned it into a minor league
baseball game.
Uh-huh. And guess what? Everyone's pissed. Yeah. Everyone's pissed. People used to not care about the All-Star game. There's the difference, right? There's the middle ground of like, oh, it's bad and we don't care about it. This one was so egregiously bad that everyone is yearning for a simple All-Star game that is just basketball. They're yearning for an East versus West basketball game. We've got 4 teams. Why are the rising stars here? Why are Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson playing against each other? They're on the same basketball team. Why aren't they on the same All-Star team? What are these draft picks? Why are the TNT guys in charge of it? Everyone's mad about everything from every angle. It's enraging. And everyone's talking about it. Last year, the All-Star game, so bad, nobody really talked about it. There was like one day where people are like, ha ha ha, Adam Silver said that people were going to try this year and they didn't. And then that was it. We're going to be talking about how atrocious this All-Star game was for the rest of the year. I think it's fully intentional.
You might be right.
Now, do I really think this? No, but it's there. It's there. I think TNT just fucked it up. I think they like the other things were just legit. I think that they worried that the players weren't going to try, and the players actually did try, and it just all the other stuff ruined it. Like you could even tell the beginning of the final game was exciting, and then they took a 20-minute break, and then they came back and nobody cared anymore. So yeah.
Yeah, and we did get to have some cool Steph Curry moments, and there were some fun plays and alley-oops and whatnot. The Mr. Beast thing, at least the kid made it ultimately, because otherwise it was like unwatchable. And also, was Lillard trying to miss on purpose to give the guy a chance?
He might have. He might have been, because Lillard was like trying to get the guy to make the shot. You can see a YouTube video where he like boxes out Mr. Beast, because Mr. Beast like kept talking to the guy like right before he shot. Like one time he screamed for $100,000 right as the guy was doing his shooting motion. He was just a terrible MC. I've not liked him for quite some time. So him having all this like new negative press about mistreatment.
I don't really get the
I don't either. I think it's just children don't have formed enough brains to realize that that's garbage content.
Yeah.
But he was a terrible MC. He was super awkward. He was not good at doing it. He kept trying to like get people to come over, and they didn't want
Kenny
to.
Smith seem like a competent MC.
I mean, that's the thing. He like did that awkward thing where he was like, "Shaq, Kenny, come over here, come over here." It took like way too long, and then Kenny finally did, and then Kenny was great. Like gave the guy like actually really good advice and calmed him down, which was awesome. And then Mr. Beast was like directing people to get out of the way, because I'm sure they're also making this a YouTube video for his channel. So that was, and he's doing that like into the microphone. Then he's like talking about how, they're going to cut to commercial break. Like, yes,
you
we
don't
know
say
that's the
those
truth.
things. Yeah.
No, you just say 30 seconds left, because that increases the intensity, but it doesn't make us all realize, we're watching advertised programming. Like, don't remind us of capitalism.
Exactly. It was something where you're like, I can tell that you do a lot of stuff on YouTube where you get to do a bunch of takes of it and they very much curate it. And doing something live is a completely different beast for you, mister. But I will say that the 3-point contest I thought was very good. I mean, okay, hold on. Let's talk about the Spurs cheating.
Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome. It's so good. I'm enraged that they got disqualified because Draymond surprisingly told us all that it was not Chris Paul who came up with the idea.
Wemby.
Draymond said it was Wemby.
Which means Chris Paul's rubbing off on him.
Yeah, they were explaining the rules to them. And for anyone unaware of is it still the Taco Bell skill challenge? I will call it that, even if they're not the sponsor.
Let's call it that.
You have to like do some passes through some obstacles, dribble down, make some shots, dribble down, make a layup. The other guy does the same thing. Now, the shots, there's 3 balls on the racks. So you either have to make one or miss all 3. So apparently Wemby got word of this and was like, you can just miss all 3? So then they just like, when Chris Paul and Wemby did it, they just threw the balls like willy-nilly and just tried to do as fast as I can. They later get disqualified for not making legitimate attempts at the basket, which I think is fine. But apparently Wemby asked all of the referees and they said like, nah, you just got to like, you just got to shoot them. It doesn't matter if they don't look legit. But then apparently the like NBA higher ups came down and there was this really awkward scene where Allie LaForce, who's a great sideline reporter, was trying to interview Wemby about it. And this like NBA official was like boxing her out and not letting her go. And she even said she got Heisman. So I don't know if he like legit like shoved a hand in her face. But you can hear him on the broadcast kind of being like, they said, so like clearly the NBA higher-ups didn't want this to happen. I thought it was so funny. I thought it was great. They got booed and they interviewed Wemby about it after. And he was like, no, they were booing Chris Paul. They weren't booing me. That was great.
Yeah, I mean, that ended up being fine. I honestly don't even remember who won that. Was it the Golden State team?
No one ever does.
Yeah,
no one knows.
Now, 3-point contest was great.
It was good.
Like, nobody had one of those rounds that people are going to talk about forever. And obviously, we didn't have like the Steph versus Sabrina thing like we did last year. So there wasn't that. But still a very good performance all the way around.
Buddy Hield's first round was really solid.
Yeah, and that was fun. Like the hometown guy having a good round. And then the dunk contest. I mean, at this point, and someone was making this point online, like the NBA owes Mac McClung a lot of money. Like he has been the only reason that the dunk contest has been watchable the past 3 years. And I am willing to say on record that there's never been a better dunk contest dunker
because
in terms of like
doesn't have to worry about being good at basketball
performance. Well, he does. I don't think that's entirely fair to him. It's not like he's like the guy who, is a professional dunker and doesn't do anything else. He is like playing very well in the G League. And if you look at his numbers, the guy's very much trying to be, a viable player in the league. I agree with the idea that like, yes, Anthony Edwards is a superstar in the NBA, and he does not have time to be like focusing on dunks for a month before the contest. But however much time you think McClung has, the dude's basically our height, and he's jumping over cars doing reverse. Like, it is unbelievable how good of a dunker that guy is and how creative he is.
Yes. Oh, totally.
And everybody else sucked. I mean, other than what's his name on the Spurs, like Buzelis and the guy in the Bucks were brutal.
Right. I think Stephon Castle was fantastic. I think Stephon Castle had some of his dunks in the finals, I think, were better than Mac McClung's. I think Stephon Castle, where the guy made the shot and then he did the through the legs dunk after.
That is
I thought
incredibly
that was way
hard.
cooler than Mac McClung's like 2-ball dunk. The 2-ball dunk, like the second ball was already in the rim. Like, people are freaking out.
I liked the tap. Yeah,
the rim tap one. That one was nuts. That was nuts. The Cara one was awesome, and the rim tap one was awesome. Those were super cool. The plot twist dunk was fun too, where he like turned at the last second. Oh my
gosh, yeah,
it was super cool. Like those 3 were great. The other one, the 2-ball one, I was like, I didn't love that one. But
but the coordination of jumping over someone, like grabbing a ball with your right hand and then smack, like. Yes, it's not like he took it from below the rim and like also did a full dunk with the one on the left, but I mean, still pretty outrageous.
It was cool, but I don't like people are like flipping out over that one, and I was like, nah.
Yeah.
But like we're picking hairs at this point. Like, yes, he totally deserved
picking
the
them
win,
or splitting them.
We're supposed to be splitting them, but I'm picking them. But I think that Stephon Castle was awesome. He was great. Like, made it like truly like when he did that dunk, it was like, oh, it's not just a shoo-in that Mac wins. Whereas like last year, it was just like Mac McClung and no one else mattered.
Right.
So I thought it was fun. I enjoyed it. I think the dunk contest like is potentially back ? Because at least John Morant was like, "Ooh, maybe I want to do it." Giannis was like, "If you do it, I'll do it." And then
I kind of don't believe that.
This is it's reminds me of when LeBron in 2009 said that he was going to do the next year's one, and then he didn't do it because 2010 was when he joined the Heat, and there was too much other distractions going on. So who knows? But like, it's not impossible. But he did cool stuff. Like, it's cool to see him do a proper car dunk because Blake Griffin's dunk was not a proper car dunk. So he actually legitimately cleared the car. It was really cool. Shout out to Mac, deserved, but also shout out to Stephon Castle, who's like potentially potentially going to be the rookie of the year, and then also did a great dunk contest. Yeah, I'm not trying to knock Mac. It's just like his schedule is far less demanding. He had a lot more time off before the All-Star game just because there's not as many G League games.
He's the only player in the NBA or G League who actually drives a Kia, so I mean that helped. He's got a frame of reference for it.
Yeah, I'm sure Kia paid him lots of money to do that dunk, so I think he's probably doing all right.
But I'm afraid that they just like drive it in there because it's the official car of the NBA, and like Mac doesn't see any money from it, which would suck.
I'm sure he got some money from it.
I hope so.
And if he didn't, he needs a better agent because he should have got money from it.
It was funny. There was a video of him like training and practicing that dunk. And in that clip, it was over a Subaru. And all the comments were like, oh, this gives him real street cred. The Subaru dunk.
So it was cool. I enjoyed the dunk contest. I enjoyed the 3-point contest. I hope at the WNBA 3-point contest they do the return of like the Steph and Sabrina, because there were rumblings of them doing Steph and Clay versus Sabrina and Caitlin Clark. And Caitlin Clark, who wanted a break because she went from college season to WNBA season to playoffs, like it just needed a rest. She also had said she wants her first 3-point contest to be the WNBA 3-point contest, which I think is cool. So if she does that, if they do a mixed thing, because like, yeah, it doesn't have to be the women coming over to the men. Let's have the men come over to the women. And like, I'm sure from a viewership perspective, if you want to bring in more fans to the W, like maybe people will tune in to the WNBA All-Star Weekend if they have some NBA players. So hopefully that could become like a thing in the future. There was something I was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast after, because he had some ideas about how to increase the stakes and make people care more in the format. He was like, there's just always be some WNBA people in the 3-point contest. Why not? I'm like, you know what? Like, that doesn't sound so bad. Like, if we do get to a point where it's just like, yeah, and then here's, 2 or 3 WNBA players, like, sure, because the 3-point contest is so short. It's always so short. I always want it to be longer. Like, add 2 more contestants. Why not?
Yeah. And also, like, just a real reminder of how much better the WNBA All-Star Game was this year than the NBA one. Like, it was made better by the fact that this past year's WNBA one was like, the WNBA All-Stars versus the team that was about to go to the Olympics, and there was the like Arike Agunbowale kind of drama of like, hey, why am I not on this team? Now I'm gonna like embarrass all of you and score 35 points in the second half. But yeah, I agree. The actual basketball part of the All-Star game was fun. Steph had some classic Steph moments, which of course is cool in his hometown. Like just, well, not hometown, but home basketball city. Like pulling up from half court and drilling it, having the classic, like I'm going to shoot and then turn around and making it like, the only beef that I have was like, they had a very easy opportunity to let him close out the game, but then Jason Tatum just had like an easy layup. But I was like, you got to understand the moment. Also, it was about to be set up for him to win it, and then they called an 8-second violation on him, which yes, it's by the rules, but like, let's not kid ourselves here. That was this perfect moment of like, he's dribbling the ball up, everybody's starting to stand up in the stands, and then you just kill the momentum of it by calling that.
And then the conspiring of Jason Tatum and James Harden to not let Steph Curry get the final bucket. Do you feel like
that was...
our buddy Chris Chan suggested it. And like, look, Steph ruined James Harden's chances of being an NBA champion with those Rockets, and the Warriors defeated the Celtics out when you're in the final. I don't think those two guys are super big Steph fans.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true.
Yeah, but let's close it, because what we're going to end this episode with is us talking to good comedians. Let me talk about my biggest beef with the All-Star Weekend, which is Kevin Hart being there. Like, separate aside, I despise Kevin Hart. I think he is not funny. I don't think he's ever been funny. He has homophobic jokes that he refuses to apologize for. I think he's an insufferable human. Even if you don't hate Kevin Hart as a person like I did, I think everyone universally hated what he did in the All-Star game, because he was there. Why? Because he's short and Shaq's tall, I guess. But like, he kept making fun of players, like you're saying, like it was a roast. But A, none of the jokes are funny. And B, this is the NBA All-Star Game. This is a celebration of players we love. Why are you making fun of Karl Anthony Towns' hairline, which is a good hairline? Like, he doesn't have a bad hairline. Make fun of Kevin Durant if you're going to make fun of a hairline, or LeBron. But then also, he was ragging on SGA's like playing style and his shoes. Kevin Hart, unsurprisingly, had a take where he was like, I want to see a world where big men are big men, and I want to where guards are clearing it out. It's like, okay, yeah, the guy who said he would be disappointed if he had a gay son has old school dated views. Unsurprised. But also, like, why are you ragging on these people? And why are you ragging on SGA shoes? He just debuted his first ever signature shoe at the All-Star game.
Yeah, sorry,
and now
we
you're
don't all
making fun
endorse
of it.
Fabletics, Kevin Hart.
and the best part, though, was SGA being pissed at Kevin Hart twice. There's one time where he went in for a handshake and then did like a psych thing to not actually give him a handshake. And then when he's like stopping play to talk trash, SGA goes, wrap it up. And it says like, I want to play. Like, let's go. And then even Ernie Johnson was pissed. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, they had Kevin Hart essentially doing like the MC from the And One mixtape sort of job.
Yeah.
But at the All-Star game, which is like not really what that event calls for.
And even the And One guy always hypes up the good things, doesn't make fun of the bad things.
He talks some shit too. He talks
some, but like usually in conjunction with something happening. Like it would be after getting dunked on. It wouldn't just be like out of nowhere, like, hello, I would like to make fun of Karl Anthony Towns in the pregame captain's handshake. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it was
ridiculous
strange.
And just needless negativity. Didn't like it. Hope he doesn't show up. But that was NBA All-Star Weekend. That was Full Court Press. And now we'll conclude this episode with a very fun interview that you put together with some of your comedian friends.
Yeah, so this one is particularly timely. We're recording this a couple days after SNL just celebrated the 50th anniversary, of course, talking about Saturday Night Live. And one of their most famous alumni, who is a known hooper, Adam Sandler, actually stopped by an ongoing stand-up comedians pickup basketball game that I have played in many times. It's every Sunday. It has been for the past 10 plus years. And so we brought back on some of the comedians who were at that particular game to tell us a little bit about the experience. Two of the three of these guys you will have met. The third you'll be meeting for the first time. But here it is in its entirety, the Adam Sandler game. All right, as promised, we have a very special interview today. We already teased it a little bit, but there's an ongoing stand-up comedians pickup basketball game that's been happening for over a decade, and a pretty famous comedic actor by the name of Adam Sandler recently played in that run. But before we get to all of that, I got to introduce our guests. We've got Joel Walkowski, we've got Dan Yang, both of whom have been on the podcast before, and Jeff Cerulli making his Horse podcast debut. So what I'm going to have you gentlemen do, and Jeff, I'll start with you. I want you to introduce yourself, give us your pickup basketball position, give us a pickup basketball comp. Who do you think you are similar to? And let us know who your favorite NBA and or WNBA team is. Jeff, take it away.
Okay. I want to say right off the top, I saw Adam hit a three-pointer at MSG. I was at that game.
Thank you.
It was, people are still talking about it. People are still.
I mean,
buzzing.
I did hit the LeBron celly afterwards, you know.
I'm a two guard. You guys have all played with me. You guys know I like to shoot. My comparison,
Allen Houston.
Yeah,
it's got to be Allen Houston. Like I've got a line for Jeff. I have so many comps for Jeff.
Yeah, that was my guy. I'm a big Knicks fan. I'm from New York, so Houston was my guy. When I was watching, the late '90s Knicks, I couldn't beat Sprewell. He's too athletic. He's like jumping out the gym. So Houston was a guy that I would watch and be like, there's just a lot of pump fakes and running off screens and shooting. I could do this. So that was my guy. And actually, Chris Daniels, like 3 weeks ago at Hoops, was like, you remand me of, and he nailed it. He goes, Allen Houston. I go, that was my guy. So
that's high praise. All right, I like it. Dan, over to you.
Oh man, I don't know. I feel like I'm in this new era of positionless basketball. I feel like I want to say I'm a Boris Diaw type with my knees.
A classical
these days.
human being, as Bill.
But I don't know. You guys have all played. I don't know what you. I guess the funny pick would be Jeremy Lin, but I actually can't. I can't do that. I don't know. What do you guys think?
You don't pass enough for Boris Diaw.
Lou Williams?
I would say Lou Williams because you're always looking to score. You go into the lane. You're looking to get that little mid-range with your foot sticking out wearing your stupid tights.
That sounds about right.
I've always seen Dan as an Eric Gordon type.
Oh, wow. Okay. Eric Gordon. I'll take it.
That's a compliment.
Yeah. Last weekend, I didn't pass to Henry Sir, who's like kind of the go-to guy that's much better than all of us. But I was like, I don't know, it's Sunday. I'm gonna take this, and then I turned it over immediately. So Eric Gordon stuff.
The maddest anyone's ever been on a Sunday run.
Exactly. As folks may remember, you're a big Warriors fan. Is that going to extend to the Valkyrie? Are you going to follow them?
I don't know. I feel like I'm too deep in the New York Liberty zeitgeist, so I think I'm gonna be Warriors Liberty.
I like it. I like it. All right. I'm going to assume Joel Walkowski, Bill Lambier, but I'll let you speak for yourself. Could be Rick Mahorn.
I think we're modern era. The team is revived. Okay. Last night in a league game, I got called dirty for grabbing someone's shirt, and my response was to run through screens like a friggin' Bosa brother. So I gotta say Isaiah Stewart here. Yeah. Like, I have one hook shot. I'm the strongest guy out there, and I kind of suck.
I've always said that you play basketball like a football player.
Joel moves like an early 2K animation guy, like a video game character that like it's effective, but he just moves it's like this isn't how actual human beings move, is it?
It's sort of like a land octopus thing.
Yeah.
The shot is choppy. It is like a PS2, like kind of like NBA Live, O2 game.
It's been known to lag.
It's a glitchy like kind of post game. But I'll tell you, and I play on the same team as Joel. There was one game where he got like 6 or 7 of them of those just like those glitchy like jumpers, and the team after was like, "Yo, man, that's ugly, but it goes in, man." And it's like that's what you want. You got props from the other team about being like, it doesn't look good, but it works.
It's true, and I've always said we've played with bigger guys, we played with heavier guys. I still think Joel is my top pick for like person I would least want to take a charge from.
Yeah, like the comp I get is Bear falling down the stairs pretty often. So yeah, and so I love running through screens. And like last night, I knew it was a team of lawyers, and we were down 20, and like I grabbed a guy's shirt and he screamed. So I was like, all right, if you really are gonna act like that, I will. It's time to go beef stew mode.
Well, hopefully they weren't injury attorneys. But all right, let's get to the real focal point of why we're here. So before we get into the Sandler game, talk us through the origins of the Sunday run. Now, Joel, as I recall it, at least from when I started playing, it was you and Jake Head who ran it in a different gym many years ago. But it has to have been more than 10 years now, right? Like, what's the origin of the game?
It's a proud lineage. It started with CJ Toledano, founder of the Follow Through.
Former horse guest as well.
And then Devin Conroy, who's not really a comic, but he is a writer for Suits. Great show. Everyone check it out. And I think it started in 2014 in Gramercy on 3rd and 23rd. And it's 15 people every Sunday, hopefully. But the email goes out at 11 a.m. on Tuesday. Whoever signs up first, and like tiebreaker is like seniority. So it's a pretty hot ticket. And you're talking with 3 regulars now, 3 always ins.
It's true. I feel like I'm not at a point where I can just like drop into any comedy show I want, but I feel pretty confident that if I text Joel the week before, I'm like, hey, let me get a spot. I feel pretty good about my chances.
And you're polite. You know the secret. If I've known you for 10 years, if I know you hoop, let me know in advance. I'll save you a spot. People get mad at me all the time. Like that's because you're one of the few comedians with actual people skills.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I take that as a compliment, but I do feel it's held me back. I think my professionalism is maybe the worst thing going for me. Now, I guess Jeff and Dan, I would say you two are probably 2 of the veterans of that game. Jeff, I feel like I remember you from the very beginning, but any comments that you want to make about the Sunday run or about your participation in the notorious Big Walkowski, which we've had Joel on to talk about before?
Well, there was an old comics run at Hunter High on Sundays. This is how old I am. There was a Sunday morning run. It was in the morning. It was 11 a.m. Hunter High School. And then there was a huge gap where I wasn't playing that much. Adam, we used to play in Astoria. That kind of got me back into playing because I had like a 4-year gap where I just wasn't really playing. And then it was nice to find this game. And I like it better when Joel runs it because Jake would only get me in sometimes. And Joel, I can get in way more. But it's just kind of an institution at this point. It's great. It's like a mix of, directors. You got some SNL people, which is how Sandler came in. And there's just a lot of interesting people who play in this game. And Leo.
Well, and Leo. If Leo's listening, he's not. But you know what? I don't even want to say what I have to say to Leo. We're gonna leave that for the Patreon. Joel. As Jeff alluded to, and that's a good segue, we have had some prominent people play in the game before and also play in the Big Walkowski. So Ben Marshall, who is part of the comedy trio Please Don't Destroy that people see a lot on SNL. He's the redheaded guy. Also very tall, very good at basketball, has hit multiple threes in my face on like back-to-back sequences, which I find pretty rude. But as I understand it, he was the connection to bring Sandler to the game. So Joel, talk us through like how this happened. It all seemed kind of last minute.
And it was last minute. And we have a few SNL guys who play in the game. Like Dismukes is pretty good. Devin Walker plays, but Devin Walker is like bad at basketball. No, we all know. Like Devin Walker is like 6'5" and he's very strong. Like he kind of does what I do, but without like the skill and touch around the basket, you know? But Ben Marshall is a hooper. I remember like 6-7 years ago, I was like, Ben, what'd you do this week? And he's like, oh, I went to a Nick Nurse lecture. So I was like, oh, this guy, he knows ball.
Yeah.
So wow. Ben's 6'6". He moves like a guard, great shot, and like one of the top 4 or 5 players in the game. Love playing with him, love playing against him. He's the best.
Yeah.
He's got a very Dirk-like game.
He does, yeah. He's very hard to guard. He's very like lithe and kind of, he's the Chet Holmgren of the Sunday run.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, 6'6", that's tough. Like, obviously in NBA terms, that's not necessarily the tallest guy out there.
Oh, in Sunday terms, he's basically Wembanyama.
Right.
Absolutely. You see him fly in, and he's very long too. So I think he's got a big wingspan even for that height. So it's a lot to contend with.
Yeah. Now, did he text you, or did he just like literally show up to the game with Sandler in tow?
It was a complete surprise. I had no idea it was happening. And like, I let a new guy in, Jared Schwartz, who's kind of like comedy's kid brother. He's a very like pipsqueak, kind of annoying guy. And I mean that in an endearing way. I like him a lot. But he calls me like 3 times as Jeff is driving me there. Jeff gives me rides everywhere. Like, we have a whole Miss Daisy thing going on.
You sit in the back seat.
Yeah, absolutely. We learn about love lost, but I get all these calls, and like Jared Short's like, hey man, we got a VIP guest here. He can't find the entrance. And I was like, Jared,
VIP guest here.
Yeah.
Woo.
And like, I was like, Jared, did you bring someone? Like, I'm furious at you. Like, you better, who's the VIP guest? And he's like, Adam Sandler. And I was like, oh, what? I hung up the phone. I didn't believe him.
Seriously. Wow.
Yeah, Jeff was there.
Yeah, it was on speaker, and I go, oh, who is it? LeBron? He goes, no, it's not LeBron. It's Adam Sandler. And we're like, okay. But I did think in the back of my mind, my buddy in L.A. played with him in L.A. Fitness. Like, what I always say about Adam Sandler is he's pick up Bill Murray. You know those Bill Murray stories about, I was at the bar last night, and Bill Murray came, and he flirted with my wife, and we sang a karaoke song. It's like, if you play basketball enough, Adam Sandler should show up at some point. So I was like, it's
also,
not
he's always
inconceivable.
dressed to play basketball.
Yes,
so he's prepared at all times.
He's always ready.
And the one caveat I'll get, you would not believe how soft that oversized polo shirt is. It's incredible.
The thread count's got to be unbelievable. Also, it makes me feel nice that I can relate to Adam Sandler, because I also couldn't figure out how the hell to get into that building the last time I played.
It is funny just envisioning like Adam Sandler outside of a public elementary school, just knocking on the door wearing a polo shirt.
Now, did he show up with Ben though, or did he just like show up and met everybody there and was like, how do I get into this building?
I was sitting there, I was like one of the first ones in, and then I'm just kind of like changing my shoes, and just people start coming in, and you don't really look, and you just give everyone a dap. And it was like Ben Marshall, somebody else, and then Adam Sandler, and you just give 3 handshakes, and you takes a second to register, like, oh shit, that's the Sandman. It's Hubie Halloween that just walked in.
Hubie Halloween.
And then everyone else that came in, I just went up to them and whispered like, yo, look who's here. And it takes everyone like 10 minutes to realize it's Sandler, because he dresses like your average comic. It's hard to pick him out.
Now, were people playing it cool? Were they doing that thing where they're like, oh, let's not like freak out too much? Or...
Half and half. Everyone's trying to play cool, but like I remember Yang going up to me, he goes, yo, that's Adam Sandler. And then Chris Cheney, like 30 seconds later, do you see who's here? It's Adam Sandler. So everyone is kind of playing cool in a subtle way, but they're being uncool.
And
now, was the playing cool versus uncool also translating to on the court? Like, are people afraid to like post them up? Are people like afraid to go for like reach-ins? How does that dynamic go to the actual game?
We'll get into it. Like the comics see prominent people sometimes. It's part of the existence. There was a run before us that they did not play it cool. Like we have like all these accomplished basketball players trying to stick around, watch our run, and like, I don't want that. I don't want to play basketball in front of a D1 athlete. Like, that's my nightmare.
Oh, I actually didn't ask you that. Did you kick them out, or did they just leave on their own?
I did kick them out. I said this.
Oh, so it was a group.
Like,
it was like a group of like legit hoopers, and they wanted to stay. That's
and they were like taping the run, and like you don't. And like, granted, this is in stark contrast, but you don't really want to have that getting out there, he says on a podcast about the experience.
Well, it's after the fact now. I mean,
Yeah.
The funny thing to me was like the whole time I'm like, do I try to get a photo? And then the 3 people on this call are the only 3 that got photos. I heard Joel got one, and then I saw Jeff go ask him, and I was like, I'm going to just do it right after Jeff asks.
did he seem annoyed or no?
I think as it was 3. I think if everybody went up one by one, the truth is we should have all taken a group photo with him. But Joel did at the beginning, and then I was sitting out the game he was playing. I had my phone ready. I was texting my wife. I was like, should I get a photo with him? She's like, yeah. I'm like, I don't know. And then I was just like, hey, man, I'm sorry. Can I just get a photo with you? Because, he said
So
yes.
Adam Sandler.
Yeah, and then Dan got it, and then that's it. You kind of can't ask anymore. He does 2 photos in a row. Like, was he gonna? There's 15 other. It's like you got to just let it go. So we were the only ones to get it.
It is funny going up to him. It's like, I don't know if you know this, but you're Adam Sandler. So
Now, as I understand it, he was kind of the exception to the rule because Joel's always been the only thing that has not been hit by inflation is the price of the Sunday basketball run, and I respect Joel a lot for that. It's been like $15 for as long as I can remember.
It's 14 actually.
14, yes.
Yeah, it's a bargain.
But as I understand it, you did not charge the Sandman, and you also did not make him sit out games.
Okay, so you don't see the Venmo amounts. Ben Marshall did cover him. I was incorrect
that's
about
so
that.
funny.
Ben is a mensch.
That's
He's a
sweet.
great guy. And it's a funny joke. Like, oh, Adam Sandler owes me $14 and 90 minutes of my life back for Click. But, Ben covered the $14.
Of all the movies of his,
Yeah, I was going to say, there's much worse Sandler movies, let's be honest.
Click.
It's just what popped in the dome.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's get into like how did he play? How did you all feel you played with him? I feel like you can't go full Joel if you're guarding Sandler because you don't want to knock the guy's teeth out. Like what was happening there?
I was matched up against him one game, and it's funny because you're like, you're matching up before the game. And it's like, oh, I got Joel, I got this guy, and I think it was Matt Benjamin's like, well, I'll get Sandler, and I was like, nah, I got Sandler. I was like, I can't pass this up.
You got to call
And-
rank on Benjamin. on that one.
And it is tricky, like when I have the ball and then you look up and it's Sandler, it is jarring, and I'm like, I don't even know what to do here. And he posted me once, and he did give me like a bump, and he moved me. He's a strong ass guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were deferential. Sandler's a hooper. He wanted to hoop. He was bringing it. He was getting in the mix. He was setting screens. He was not a finesse player. So he quickly made it known that, like, in that context, he was one of those guys. And I think it is notable. He learned everyone's name immediately.
That's awesome.
Like, and he was fun to play with, and true floor general. That's how I would put him. Like, scrappy point guard.
Seems like a great passer.
Yeah, still a great passer. He wants everything to the rim. I noticed. I played against him the first game, and then the next 2 games I played with him, and I was like, when I was sitting on the wing, even though I was open, he wants everyone to cut. So then the 3rd game I adjusted, and I got to say I had good chemistry with him that 3rd game. I think it was 3 assists in a row, it was 2 threes, and then like a mid range, and then we just clicked. And then I actually made a joke to him because then like we didn't score for a little bit, and I told him, I went up to him, I go, hey, don't pass to those other guys, they're gonna fuck up your assists. And he laughed, and I was like, this is the greatest, this is the best. Balling with Sandler, getting assists.
You got to pick, you got to joke in. I mean, what else do you need?
Was there any time in the game where like he seems chill, but like was there any sort of like argument, not a heated one, but like whether it's a jump ball or a foul call or like toe on the line? Because I was gonna say, like, I feel like if I'm in that situation and he's like, oh no,
Everybody
that was
was
off
cool.
of you, I'd be like, yes sir, yes it was correct.
Everyone was,
like I wouldn't protest.
Everyone was on their best behavior. It was like, Daddy's here. We gotta chill.
I believe it's Big Daddy's
some might
here.
say. Yeah. There it is.
There we are.
Great minds.
Yeah, I had a friend who was upset that I didn't text him to come down, and I was like, yeah, but you weren't in the game. And he's like, yeah, but you still should have told me I wanted to come down. I'm like, that's exactly why I didn't text you, so you could come down and ask him 100 questions. I'm like, he came to play basketball. Very efficient player too. He takes like 2 shots a game. And I remember one of the games, I think it was like 10-10, it was late, and he had a drive, and he like pump faked and got a layup. And yeah, he is a joy to play with. He's a great guy because he's just passing, doesn't take that many shots.
and a crazy amount of ball fakes. He goes to the elbow and then he'll have a ball fake and then he'll use that to create like a window to throw a pass.
Yeah, he does the rondo a lot, the little fake behind the back. And that's the only time I got a laugh from him. And I was like, oh, the rondo. And he gave me a little polite Sandman chuckle.
Now, did he stretch beforehand, or is he just like a superior athlete and human being?
He did stretch. One of the guys from the game before us had like those shoulder straps that hook over a rim, and Sandler was very intrigued by that. He went over there directly, and he stretched for sure.
It's funny. Okay. I noticed he did all his stretching and warm up and between game stuff on the other side, like the opposite corner of where most of us sit between games. I think he just was like, I need my own space.
It's his trailer.
Yeah, there you go. Let me know when it's my call time. It'll show up.
And the one thing that he did have reservations about, where he would like raise points, like we were very deferential to him. We let him. We were at 17 that week, which is my personal nightmare. But we let him stay on every game. So the winning team, only 3 guys got to stay on afterwards. But like, you're gonna let Adam Sandler stay on the court.
Yeah.
And absolutely. Even when I was sitting, I'm like, I'm still watching Adam Sandler play. I'm chilling.
I think you all got your $14 worth, I should say. Now, was there any scenario at all, Joel, in which you felt anyone embarrassed your good name, or just like embarrass themselves in front of Sandler? Like, were there any egregious air balls or people like trying to do too much?
I did get the ball in the open court, and I took it to Sandler, and I hit my little floater, and I might have said Shabadoo, but that was maybe the only cringe moment. And
that was great.
Did you really do that, or are you messing around?
I absolutely did that.
I did hear that, and I was like, am I hallucinating right now?
Was there any other trash talk either from Sandler or directed at Sandler?
No, I mean, someone could have went with like, "This is how I win," but I don't think anyone did it. But that would have felt. Shabadoo is better because it's more random. I don't know. Then if you do the Uncut Gem memes, I think that's a bit much.
Yeah,
you just score on him. You hit a 3 in his face, and you say it's. I don't know. It feels like it's too much.
I mean, if Garnett shows up to a run, we're gonna really have to reconvene here. But
was Sandler itself like? Is he like one of those like talkative players where like on defense he's like calling out like where everyone to go, or is he just kind of like silent assassin playing this game?
No, and I think he directs traffic. It's more offensive move. He's telling everyone where to cut. Like he'll have the ball under one arm and make the motion of where you should go. So like it's the signs of someone who's played basketball his entire life and has played it at a fairly high level.
Offensively, he struck me as like a Draymond type. But I feel like Sandler has a better shot, probably. But he's kind of like the build, relative to everybody else, got a Draymond kind of build, kind of doing the point forward, like
he does seem sturdy. Like he seems like he would definitely be able to post you up pretty well. How tall is he?
Not tall. Shorter than me. I'm 5'10", so he's probably like, what do you think, 5'9"?
I would say he's a Raymond Felton type, but I don't want to insult him.
There you go.
Raymond Felton, the one former NBA player I think I can beat one-on-one. You see how big he got? That's the one guy I think people get insane about this, and like Scalabrine did a good job of, but I think of showing that you can't beat an NBA player, former NBA player. But I think Felton is the one guy I feel confident that he's not that much taller than me. He gained a lot of weight. I've seen him in the Celebrity Knicks games. Like I think that's the one guy, maybe 11-8, I win, I think.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah, we gotta get that the next Walkowski, get Felton down here.
I mean, I think so. All right, now this is going to be a fun exercise before we kind of wrap this up here. Joel, I'll start with you because you're the founder of the game, as it were. If you could choose any celebrity to play in that game, who would it be? My only parameters are someone who is alive and someone who's not like a basketball player.
Any celebrity to play in that game. As a Detroit Pistons guy, I got to go Tim Robinson, if only because he would genuinely be like Leo is a Tim Robinson character. So I would love to see Tim and Leo in the same place. Like Leo does the bulging eyes after every call. And I think that would be one of the only other few people I could get starstruck by that.
After every Leo hard foul, he turns into like, we're all looking for the guy who did this.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Jeff, who you got? Do you have anyone that you'd like to Hoop with?
Just Felton. I wanna just prove that.
You broke my rule of a former basketball player.
Yeah, just former celebrity. Woody Harrelson. He supposedly was a good player. White Man Can't Jump. You could see he could play. That was always the thing that Wesley Snipes was not the player. So yeah, Woody Harrelson. Let's get him in the run. Duchovny, I heard, was good too in his day.
Dan, you got anyone?
Man, no one like famous celebrity Raymond Felton, but maybe like Guy Fieri. I think that'd be fun.
Ooh.
He seems like a similar build, maybe a little bigger than Sandler, but maybe more fun to play with. Just because, and also that's a free bucket if he's guarding you, presumably.
Well, I actually hear that the Food Network traded him because he's overweight, and
damn, that would be the Luka trade equivalent.
Man. Do you see the fan that got kicked out? This is some real James Dolan shit they're doing now. The guy said on the Jumbotron, he was on the Jumbotron, he goes, "Fire Nico." He mouthed the words and they kicked him out.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's literally like what North Korea would have done.
And James Dolan was doing it for years.
Yeah.
He was doing it for years at Knicks games. If you said anything critical, you got kicked out.
He was finding out like people who like tweeted mean things about him and were kicking them out.
Jake Head is banned from Madison Square Garden. He was escorted out via facial recognition software from a tweet. That's a real story.
what did he tweet?
He's just said like sell the team. It was like it was very Jake Head PG comedy, like very dry bar.
Oh my gosh. This Jake Head, for reference, a comedian, he now lives in Philadelphia. His bit for a long time was he would DM punters of professional football teams and suggest that they change their bio to "I do all my own punts." And like two of them did it.
I mean, that's
funny.
a great joke.
Yeah.
Jake's great.
It's a good time. He's a Jaguars fan, so long suffering. But all right, to put a bow on this, let you all go. Any other things you want to share about the Sandler experience, the Sunday run, anything else?
Yeah, was there any weird intricacies? Like, was he eating like bananas? Did he have interesting shoes or socks? Like, any tiny tidbit is what I'm curious about.
I feel like I can tell someone's personality from how they play basketball, and you could tell he's just a great guy. Like him making the effort to learn 15 people's names in the moment, like that goes a long way. He knew it was a special experience for us, and he comported himself as such.
No, I was going to say, it felt like you won a contest, right? Like, it's not just you're going to hang out with your favorite celebrity who's been famous for 30 years. It's like you're going to do your favorite activity, right? You're going to get to play basketball with someone that you've, loved for 30 years. So it just felt like you're like, oh, this is like, you got to appreciate it. Like that game where we were flowing and afterwards he told me we had fun. Like, I was like, you got to appreciate this because it's just like, it's just not going to happen that often. Yeah.
And there's also, like to the previous point, like we just let him on every game, even if his team lost. And there were times where he's like, are you sure you don't want me to sit? And then, of course, he wouldn't have that. And I think he knew it's like, I'm down to sit, but I get it. I'm Adam Sandler, and you guys probably want to play with me. And yeah, it's probably the peak of my comedy and basketball career, I'd say.
That's because you haven't won a big Walkowski. Like, if you
once that
had, you got two former champions on the ring. Like, Dan Yang is the Chris Paul of the big Walkowski. He wants it so bad, and just not going to happen for him.
Can't believe I've been called Lou Will, Eric Gordon, and Chris Paul now.
Chris Paul, one of the greatest
That's
point
gonna
guards.
stick with me.
One of the best. Where's Chris Paul rank? He's top 10.
That's right.
He's like 8, 9 all time. Longevity.
I mean,
For point
Dan,
guards,
if it makes you feel any better, I don't think I've even made it to like the second to last round in the Big Walkowski.
You got to be captain, man. You got to
be captain.
Control your own destiny.
Adam was my first pick the first year.
Yeah.
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 We got to the second
But the one
round.
time I was captain, I got so much shit from people that I was like, I'm never being captain again.
Who gave you shit?
I'll call him out on the pod. I'll do it. Kenny DeForest was my overall pick. May he rest in peace. Absolute hooper. I forget who my number 2 pick was. It was another big dude.
Kyle Greenberg.
And then I had Matt Benjamin and Adam Matrani, and I was mostly playing myself, Kenny, and the other dude, and they were both like giving me shit. And then because I'm a people pleaser and a pussy, I was like, okay, I will just play these other people, and then we lost.
Oh, it's tough.
One time,
that makes sense.
One time, Joel made me draft his like 5-0 dentist, and and I had a pretty good team, and we were up like 11-4. We had like Noah Savage, myself, someone I forget, and then the dentist minutes plus minus really hurt us.
That's brutal.
Dentist minutes plus minus. Oh
Big
my
minus
God.
there.
Everything can go wrong. I'm happy to have one. I feel like I should have two, but I'm happy to I'll take the one because it's just winning it is hard enough.
Hey, there's still time for us, Dan.
And I did rig the lottery for Dan Yang this year. And that's a big Walkowski secret because we did an Easter egg hunt to determine draft lottery.
Was there a frozen egg?
There
Like a
was
frozen
a
envelope?
frozen egg. We
Yeah.
gave Dan the frozen egg.
How come you fixed it for Yang? Just because you want to see him get it?
He's like our big market franchise for the
Gotcha.
big Walkowski. He's our Lakers.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. But then I got Brian Booth, who's a baller, but he just had a kid, and I was talking. He's like, I haven't played in a couple months. Like, God,
And I haven't slept. Yeah. Oh man. Well, this was awesome, guys. Let's give a couple seconds for some quick plugs. If any of you have anything to plug, Joel, I know the book is officially out, right?
Not out yet. Not out.
It's
Yet. It's got another year. I will say, please don't sign up for basketball right now. This I just did signups. I get 50 to 60 signups in 10 minutes now. It's terrible. But yeah, Honolulu Blues, How the Detroit Lions Saved My Life, out next year from Ben Bella Publishing. Like, it's a crazy ass book. I think the people will really enjoy it. And maybe even some Ben Johnson praise for that Benedict Arnold.
Yeah. Bear down, baby. Jeff, what do you got?
I got a podcumentary, the documentary podcast. It's called The Podcumentary. I had Billy Mitchell on today, so check it out. It's called The Podcumentary. Billy Mitchell from King of Kong. We were very excited to have him. He's such a, legendary figure in the doc world. So check that out, Podcumentary.
Sweet. Dan?
just follow me in all the social stuff at Real Dan Yang. Maybe one day I'll have a real project, but buy Joel's book.
Yeah, that's
Super
it.
And you know what?
Sandler,
Maybe in your
live
bio
life.
one day it'll say Big Walkowski Champion, and I'm going
let's
to
hope.
manifest
Look,
that
and
for you.
just like Chris Paul, he does an assist to Joel saying to buy his book. Come on.
That's my DeAndre Jordan.
And just like Chris Paul, no rings.
Wow.
Yet.
Well, as the Scott Foster of this podcast, I'm going to remove Dan Yang from the Zoom call real quick, and we'll wrap it up here, guys. Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it, and until the next Sandler game, I guess.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Horror Sources, hosted by Adam Amawala and Mike Schubert. Our editor is Kensei Suramaki. The music is by Team Kamamanes. The art's by Allison Wakeman, and the website is by Kelly Schubert. And the social media is by both of the Horse Boys.
Thank you to our producer-level patrons, Polly Burridge, Salvatore Testa, Siobhan Ellsbury, Don't Go Chasing Taco Falls, Bang, Bang, Roast Beef Debris, Denver Steam Nuggets, Anna Reed, All-Star Game, MVP, Steph Curry for 3.
Bang!
Hi Trish, hi Allie, Chase Underulo, Naked Rachel, Sidney Crosby the Vampire, Chelsea's cousin Ginger Spurs Boy, Balls to the Walls, Mats Furley, and Josh isn't rich, but maybe he is now. We're going to have to find out. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Horse Hoops and on Twitter at Horse_Hoops because
Horse Hoops, the account was run by a conjunction of Mr. Beast and Kevin Hart, and we got it taken down.
yeah, I mean, as we should have. You can go to our website, horsehoops.com, for links to some of the many fun things we talked about today, including All-Star Weekend highlights that do not include Kevin Hart or Mr. Beast, and some photos of the Adam Sandler game.
And if you want to support the Horse Boys, you can do so at Patreon, patreon.com/horsehoops, where you get bonus content, or you can go to horsehoops.com/merch, where you can get Sup Nerds, It's Basketball shirts, and other digital merchandise items. But we'll close this episode out by saying something on the count of 3. What do we want to do here?
That's a good question. Nothing's coming to mind.
Second half of the season is upon us. The All-Star break is over. We've got the new season. Can you say happy birthday to my mom?
And to yourself.
Nah, who cares about me?
You know what? We'll say happy birthday, Schuberts, and that can mean you if you want it to be, or it can just
Beautiful.
mean your mom.
Right. Or if your last name is Schubert and you have a birthday sometime soon, we're talking about you.
Absolutely. All right.
All right. Happy birthday, Schuberts, on 3.
1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday,
Schuberts.
You did it. You didn't die. Woo!
That is a very macabre way to look at
Another
a
year
birthday.
of not death. Let's go, baby.
Yeah. Always impressive.